have a call in Maida Vale. Peter.
Hey, Nick, how you doing?
Good, thanks.
Now, listen, I know you like a bit of left field stuff, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
So listen, why Trump's ideas may not be quite as crazy and far-fetched as they at first sound.
Uh-oh, there we go.
Now listen,
grip on something firm, everybody.
Listen,
it's going to be a bumpy ride.
Hang on a minute, maybe. But listen, first of all, he never mentions bleach, okay? Now, we're talking about a group of treatments that are known collectively as oxidative therapies. Now, they're used by many doctors around the world.
Oh,
there's thousands of academic papers written on them, and there's,
Of course there are.
No, hang on, not bleach. We're not talking about bleach, okay? I mean, look, I'm a bit of a science boffin. I've been into this stuff for about 40 years.
Oh, my God, you're a bit of a science boffin. What does that mean?
Listen, Nick.
No, you clear up what that means, first of all. You're a bit of a science
chemistry
boffin.
is my main thing, okay, chemistry and physics, but I've just...
Is your main thing? Well, what does that mean?
That means one of my main interests. And science is, I gobble up everything I can try and read.
Okay, so you're not...
Before you put me down,
you're not a qualified chemist or physician.
Listen, let me have a little
clear
say,
that up.
and then you can tell me what you think, okay?
Okay,
so
you've read some insane
okay,
tripe on Facebook, and now you're going to regurgitate it all over.
No, I'm not, nothing at all. Listen, what is a disinfectant? It's not just the stuff you put down the loo. I mean, look, I'll give you 3 powerful examples, none of which are related to Domestos or Dettol.
Okay.
Other
if you drink a pint
available.
of any one of them, I'll do that too. But you first.
Okay. So the first one is hydrogen peroxide. The second one is ozone. The third one is ultraviolet C light. Okay. There's 3 disinfectants. All right. They're not bleaches. You wouldn't use them in your toilet, but they are used consistently for treating people for all sorts of things around the world.
Okay, you first.
They don't only kill viruses and bacteria
double
outside
dare
the
you.
body. Sorry? All right, well, listen, they don't just kill viruses and bacteria outside the body, which they do, but they can also kill them inside.
Yeah, and how do you take them?
Right. Well, look, oxygen is the stuff of life, all right, and this is like supercharged oxygen. So there's various ways of doing it. Hydrogen peroxide, you can get it at the chemist. It's cheap. It sorts out your, bleeding gums and your earwax problems. But also, if you want to bleach your hair with it, you can do that. It's safe enough to do that. But in fact, if you take it internally, it can also be used therapeutically, as long as it's done under guidance and under a
anybody
doctor.
listening to this who may be persuaded one way or the other by just a person's voice that they hear on the radio, do not drink the stuff you bleach your hair with.
Do not drink bleach. Correct. Do not drink bleach. But with hydrogen peroxide, you can check it out with any doctor. It's in low concentrations, it's pretty safe stuff. You can nebulize it. You know what a nebulizer is?
I feel like I've been through one just listening to you, mate. But let's restate the case that you have no idea what you're talking about.
I know exactly what I'm talking about, but you're not prepared to listen, are you? Really? Are you prepared to listen?
Somebody saying that in something as insane as you should drink the stuff that you bleach your hair with.
I'm talking about ozone now. I'm not talking about hydrogen peroxide. I told you there's 3 things that are powerful disinfectants, and they're all used for therapeutic treatments around the world, and there's papers written about them. You can look them up. You haven't got to believe me. I'm just putting it out there. You can check this yourself.
Okay, well, you put it out there. Now take it back. All of it. Thanks very much, mate. Even Donald Trump walked it back. Keep up, mate. Good grief. What's that syndrome? It's the Kruger-Durning syndrome or something like that, when a tiny, almost invisible speck of knowledge makes you believe that you know a tremendous amount about a subject. President Donald Trump, a phrase that will never seem normal. President Donald Trump proposed unorthodox new treatments for the coronavirus at Thursday's White House press briefing, also known as the insane clown posse. It included, but was not limited to, the use of ultraviolet rays and injections of cleaning agents into patients. We're looking very strongly at injecting bleach into people. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but I have a good feeling about it. My uncle was a professor at MIT, brilliant man, probably the most brilliant person ever, but you know that more than anybody. So I'm brilliant too. Everybody says so. And I get science. I get it so much. I have a gut feeling about bleach. We should start testing that right away. Injecting bleach right into a person. It makes sense. I mean, what have you got to lose? It's so true. What have you got to lose? So we're looking very strongly at that. And light. We need to start lighting up people's insides. People say to me, sir, they say, Mr. President, sir, you are so right about light. It's true. We could slice them like a loaf of bread to shine light on their insides, lay them out like toast in the sun. Sounds like a tremendous thing. We have to start doing that. We have to do it. It'll be huge. Mitcham, Lawrence.
Is it Nick? Is it Nick? Yeah, I think.
Yes, Lawrence.
Yeah.
Is it Lawrence?
Yeah. I'm a bit disappointed at the moment.
Oh no, not disappointed, surely.
Yeah, because it's not a joke. It's not a joke.
What,
a lot of people
what isn't? What isn't?
Well, this CV-19, this virus and all that. Mm-hmm. It's not a joke.
Not a joke.
You're making it a joke.
I'm making it a joke.
I'm a postman.
Yes, right.
Right. I'm on the front line. A lot of people on the front line, and they're dealing with.
Well, not really. I wouldn't really call being a postman on the front line.
No.
In what way are you on the front line?
Well, I'm delivering to people.
You deliver to a door. You put it through a letterbox. You're not actually treating sick people. You're not hovering over people, and you're not putting breathing tubes down into their lungs. I'm a key worker. I'm a journalist. I'm a key worker too. Practically everybody in the country is a key worker. It doesn't mean say you're working on the front line.
Where are you working from? Your living room?
No, I'm working in my study, but it doesn't stop me from. But yeah, you're working in the road. You don't catch it in the road. There's nobody in the road.
I'm
on the front line.
Office.
Please, I'm on the front line. The postie comes to my door every day. Even if it's a package, he just leaves it on the front door and then scarpers. Yeah, how's that being on the front line?
Where does he pick the packet up from? In the delivery office? Where there's a lot of people in. Yeah.
Well, you know what? You know what I did last week? I went to the supermarket, so that puts me on the front line.
Oh, right. How many times a week do you go in the supermarket?
As many times as I like.
Yeah. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, you're so great, aren't you? You're so smart.
That's absolutely right. Yeah, I am great. Thanks for pointing that out, Lawrence. Appreciate the call. I'm on the front line. Yeah, you're a hero. You are, Lawrence. Here's Sevenoaks. Ted.
Hello, Nick. No, I'm not in Sevenoaks. I'm in Tonbridge. Can I just say, I think you're extremely rude and extremely patronising to Lawrence the postman. I agree with you that postmen are not key workers. They're providing a vital service. Hang on, just let me finish before you interrupt me. They're providing a vital service. They have to go into a delivery office. The mail has to be sorted in huge...
Right, well, you know, the people that are working on this show have had to go into an office, and they're working side by side with people in a studio. Everybody that is currently at work is doing the exact same thing. You can't call yourself somebody who's working on the front line. Get over it. Just because the government has listed you as being a person who is doing an essential service doesn't mean to say that you are a hero. For God's sake. If you look at the amount of people that the government has listed as essential, it includes me. Well, what does that tell you? It means that the definition of essential is broad, to say the least. But thanks, Ted. Another satisfied customer. Norris Green. Hello, Eileen.
Hi, Nick.
Eileen.
Nick, it's the case of the blind leading the blind, isn't it? You know, they had, the government's going to bring in all these fruit pickers. I mean, with all this lockdown or whatever. Why can't people get a decent standard wage that's equivalent to this country, and then they put on vans or whatever, pick them up at a focal point and take them to the fields and pick? And there's loads of people that would do it. Loads here.
I very much doubt that.
Oh, I don't doubt it at all. I've been hot picking, I've been bean picking in my lifetime, and it's great fun. The only thing, if you go hot picking, wear goggles, because you need to pull the hops out the trees, and the bits go in your eyes.
Yeah, that's nasty stuff, hops. I mean, I like what they produce, but getting it off the actual bush, yeah, nasty stuff.
Yeah, it is. If the bits go in your eyes, you're stuck. You'd have to get your eyes cleaned out. But the thing is, it's like someone somewhere knows something more than the average person. And like Tyndale, when they burnt him at the stake for letting people know the truth of the Bible, the Holy Bible, in English.
Wait a minute. Back up. What do you...
just let me get to the point, Nick. What it is they bury anything worth knowing, and they believe everything themselves.
Who is burying?
Power, Nick. Them in power.
What is it that they're burying? Eileen, take a pause. What is it that they are burying?
The truth. I mean, Dr. Lay was an optimist.
Wait a minute. The truth about what?
What's going on now?
What is it that you think is going on now that they're not telling us?
Well, Dr. Lay in China was an optometrist, wasn't he?
Was he?
And he was an eye doctor.
Oh yeah.
And he first discovered this new virus, and he sent a memo out to all his colleagues in the hospitals, and he was put under lockdown.
Yeah.
He was put under lockdown.
That's China.
And told to shut up and put up.
Yeah, that's right.
And they already knew what was going on, the Chinese government, with their Frankenstein medicine. It's not the people what they're eating. It's the Frankenstein medicine people that are doing this.
Wait a minute. Eileen, take a pause. What do you mean by Frankenstein medicine?
Where they're doing diabolical things and pumping them into people.
You think that... Okay, so I'm gradually
the MMR jab, that's got bovine stem cells in it. And you're wondering why whistleblowers are getting the sack everywhere, Nick.
Eileen.
Because they whistleblowed about this 10, 20 years ago.
Eileen.
He's been whistleblowing about this.
Eileen.
Yeah, well, Dr. Lay died. He's 62. His wife's having a baby, Nick.
Eileen, are you getting this information off the internet by any chance?
Oh, here we go, like that. Bury the internet. It's bad if it's good stuff that's coming off the internet. Just like don't read the Bible, everyone, because the Holy Bible.
Yeah, okay, that's where you get your news.
No, it isn't,
that's where you get your. Do you get your news from the Bible, Eileen?
And the Guardian newspapers.
Please don't say mainstream media. Just don't say it.
Don't say mainstream anything. Mainstream means what? If it's the
Eileen,
truth, it's the truth.
Do the world a favour. Do yourself a favour. Turn the computer off and walk away from the screen. Get your information from what we used to call the news, and what people now, such as yourself, call the mainstream media. Let's have a call in Sunderland. Dave.
Hi there. Thanks for taking the call.
Thanks for making your call.
I'd just like to say about the virus. Do you think it'll wipe mankind out?
Do I think it will wipe mankind out?
Uh-huh.
Well, do I sound like a doctor to you?
Not really, no.
No.
I was just wondering if it would wipe mankind out. It's getting pretty serious, isn't it?
Well, life is a terminal illness. That is absolutely true.
I liked what Matt Hancock said when he said the best face masks are front door.
Right. Okay, well, always stay on the inside of yours. Promise me you'll do that, Dave.
I will.
Okay, all right. Thanks a lot, mate. Do I think it will wipe mankind out? No. Bellingham. Catherine.
Yeah. Hi. Yeah, I'm a new listener to your show.
Oh, yes.
Hi. Love the show.
I would like to apologise for this show. Oh, okay.
Yes. I'm really enjoying. It's just ever since the lockdown, I found it, and I've really enjoyed listening to the show. And I just wanted to say that there's a missing part of the equation, which is the spiritual side of it, and I haven't heard so much spoken about that. And just to say that I believe that if the nation turns back to God, that is the answer.
No. It's not the answer. How is that the answer?
Because it's everyone will go back to where they're meant to be. I mean, I haven't always followed...
Go back to where they're meant to be? What does that mean?
Well, like, for instance, in my case, I haven't always obviously I'm a Christian. I haven't always been, though. I was healed of depression. I had a miracle. And that...
No. You didn't have a miracle. Just tell us the nature of the miracle, and I'll tell you why it's not.
Yeah, what happened was I'd been depressed for about a year, and my friend invited me to church, and I ended up praying the prayer of repentance, and I looked up and I saw the glory of God coming down, and I fell to the ground under the power of the Holy Spirit. And then I knew
you must be the most important person on earth, Catherine, because God sat out the Holocaust. Millions and millions of people died in the worst possible way, and God did not lift a finger, but he personally intervened to cure your depression. Wow, that's incredible.
And it is, because it was the key was repentance. But before that happened, I was totally in unbelief. But when that happened, and I just knew God was real. But before that miracle happened, I didn't know, and I totally just didn't get it.
Can we back up just a second? Address my point about God sitting out the Holocaust, but personally intervening to cure you of your depression.
I mean, it is mind-blowing, because I'm not the only person that's received miracles, and
no one has received a miracle. There's no such thing as magic.
Well, I mean, miracle, but I just wanted to, put that into the equation, so at least we can.
Okay,
have
well,
it
it's not part of the equation. I mean, if it makes you feel good, then that's fine. If it makes you feel good to worship a giant spaghetti monster in space, then that's fine too. If you want to believe in an invisible wizard, then that's great. If that gets you through today, but it wasn't a miracle. There's no such thing. That's silly.
Well,
that's a silly thing to say.
Well, I know, because I know how bad the depression was, and that's not how I know it's a miracle. But
Catherine, I refer you to the statement I gave some moments ago. Why would God sit out the Holocaust and allow millions of people to be gassed to death, but personally intervened to make you feel better?
I know. It's mind blowing. I mean, what?
It's ridiculous. It's an infantile thing to say.
Well, I'm not the only one.
Either that, or you are the most important person who has ever lived.
Well, we all are to him. We are. We have such value.
No, if that was the case, nobody would be dead right now. If there was such a thing as a miracle, no one would be dead. Because guess who everybody calls out to in their, even the people who don't believe, when they're slipping off the side of a cliff, who do they shout to?
Well, to the Lord. And also there have been people healed of this virus through intervention of God.
Yeah, right. Of course. Yeah. Okay. Thanks a lot, Catherine. 0345 6060 90. Yeah, not really. I just can't. How can you be that deluded? It just bends my mind. Let's have a call in Watford. Charles.
Yes, good evening.
Charles.
Listen, Nick, come off what you're doing.
What I'm doing? What do you mean?
Well, what you're saying. It's very easy to poke fun or criticise our Prime Minister or the Secretary of State for Health or anyone else.
Yes.
I notice that you don't criticise the medical experts, but it just won't
I don't criticise the medical experts.
No.
Well, that's because they seem to be saying sensible things.
Well, I agree with you, but that there will be differences between the Prime Minister, the Secretary of State, and the medical experts.
Do you think that there should be a difference between the Secretary of State for Health and the people who he represents?
There shouldn't be, but if you knew anything about the civil service, which I do, to be honest with you, you would know that briefings to ministers often had to be done at the last moment with scratched up. No, do listen to me,
come
please.
off it, Charles. Briefings from civil servants. We're not talking about civil servants. We're talking about medical experts.
Well, one or the other.
If the Health Secretary, Matt Hancock, is saying don't stock up on food, and if Public Health England are saying the complete opposite, then someone's got their wires crossed, haven't they?
Well, personally, I haven't heard that, but there may be differences between these people. This is caused mainly by the need to produce briefings at the last moment to write them out on little pieces of paper.
Oh, Charles, what are you talking about? Matt Hancock Matt Hancock was on TV when he was speaking, and Public Health England were issuing information.
Well, all right.
This is not last minute scratching it out on a note. It doesn't sound like you do, mate.
Oh, no. I was only in the senior civil service for 10 years.
Well, that has got no bearing on what we're talking about.
No, I'm afraid it has.
It doesn't. Were you in Public Health England?
At one time I was.
Doing what?
I was one of their legal advisors.
Legal advice. Okay, well, we're not talking about the law. We're talking about medical advice.
Well, we are talking about the law.
We're not. We're not talking about the law, Charles.
No. Do listen to me.
Have you been self-medicating?
Have I been what?
It sounds like you've been. I don't know. Are you refreshed at the moment? Are you feeling okay?
Yeah. Yes, I'm fine.
Oh, okay. That's good. All right. Well, monitor yourself at all times, Charles. Let's have a call on the Isle of Wight. Debbie.
Good evening.
Debbie.
Thank you for taking my call. My problem is I don't understand how we're having to bring these people in to pick our fields, because back in the day we would all have done that, and I would love to do that now and go out there and pick the fields and get all our produce. Why can't we do that? I would love to.
What's stopping you, though?
I'll tell you what's stopping me. I went down to the local farm and said, can I come and pick the cucumbers? And they told me, no, we have people coming in from abroad doing it. And I went, well, I would love to do that. I would love to help my country and do that. Why can't we do that?
Well, because we don't want to do that, Debbie.
Well, there's thousands of people on this island who want to do that. They've done that.
Well, I very much doubt it. I doubt that there are thousands of people on the Isle of Wight who want to do that. How do you know that that's true?
I do, because everyone I speak to says, let's go and do the fields, let's help pick the corn, let's do this and do that. And we've been told we can't.
I don't mean to be indelicate, Debbie, but how old are you?
I'm 62.
Okay, well, so you're way too old for that kind of work.
No, I'm not, because I own my own business.
You absolutely are. It's back-breaking work. You need somebody who, A, who has done it before, B, who is fit, and C, who is young. I mean, I appreciate your enthusiasm, Debbie, but this work's not for you.
When there's a war on, we don't care what we do.
Yeah, but there isn't a war on.
Country.
There isn't a war on, Debbie.
A war between this virus.
Yeah, but it's not a war, though. I understand what you're saying, but you're way too old for the work.
Listen, we've all pulled together, come what may.
Yeah, okay, well, you do your bit in, I don't know, in some lighter capacity. But bending over in a field for 8 hours a day is not for you. I mean, we all appreciate your concern, but, there's other people who can do it 10 times quicker and
why can't
have to
all
go
these
to
young children over here do
I
it?
don't know why, because they don't want to do it, is the answer to that.
Because the government and getting more money from the EU for bringing the foreigners in.
And that's complete rubbish, Debbie. That's just absolute nonsense.
Oh, well.
The government aren't getting any money by bringing people in from the EU. What are you talking about? I mean, I know that people are ideologically opposed to anything European, but you're just making stuff up now, Debbie. That's nonsense.
No, I'm
but,
not.
You are making it up. I get it. You love your country. Well, good for you. Who doesn't love their country?
Yeah,
but we don't need old age pensioners bending over in a field picking tubers out of the way. You just be getting in the way.
Oh, right, okay.
But anyway, Debbie, I wish you all the best and keep flying the flag. Birmingham, Pam.
Good evening, Nick.
Pam.
Hello.
Yes, Pam.
How rude are you?
Very.
You are very rude. Imagine telling a 62-year-old woman she's too old to work on a farm.
Well, she is.
No, she isn't. She's not at all.
Yes, she is. Well,
oh,
absolutely
no, she is not.
Oh, yes, she is.
Oh, no, she isn't. Nick, I work full time. I've got a disabled husband, and I also work 2 allotments by myself.
Okay, well, that's not really the same thing,
Pam. I planted 75 potatoes all by myself, a poor little old granny.
Right, well, that's a hobby, Pam. We're talking about job of work. We're talking about a company that does this for a living.
Nick, I do. It's a pleasure. I also do a night shift.
Yeah, it's not the same at all.
No, Nick, when you have 2 very large allotments and you have to keep them spick and span and you keep them planted so you don't have to buy vegetables. No, it's not a hobby. No,
of course it is.
Nick, I'm sorry. I really am, but you don't know what you're talking about.
No, I'm afraid I do, Pam. Anthony Gardner, boss at G's Growers, who actually does this for a living, says that they need people around about the early to mid-20s because it's hard, back-breaking work. They're not keeping allotments. They're doing it. It's a job. It's a business.
And perhaps if he advertised in the cities and got them hostel accommodation, etc., more people would take it up.
No, 32,000 people signed up, but only 4,000 actually interviewed for a role.
Well, shame on them, because if I didn't have a disabled husband at home as well, I'd have put my name down and gone.
Right, and you probably wouldn't have got a job either, Pam, because you're 61 years old. You're 40 years too late.
Oh, God. Do you know, when we were kids, the farmer used to pick us up to go and pick the potatoes.
Yeah, when you were kids.
Yeah, that was from when we were 11, but the kids aren't allowed to do it now.
Right, well, the kids aren't, 11-year-olds aren't strong enough.
Oh, Nick, really? You're so ageist. Get with the groove. You're not allowed
No, Pam, it's not ageist, it's realist. 60-year-olds and 11-year-olds can't do the kind of work that we're talking about. They don't have the strength. Of course not.
I can give the young ones a run for the money on them allotments.
No, well, you can't, Pam, because your knees won't let you.
Oh, yes, I can.
Right, okay.
Shame
well,
on
I
you
wish you... all right,
ageist.
okay, all right. Thanks a lot, Pam. You're right and I'm wrong. Sure. All manual labour should be done henceforth by people who are over the age of 60. So says Pam. You're quite right, Pam. What could possibly go wrong? It's not ageist, it's realist. 0345 6060 973. I'm not saying that people over 60 are necessarily infirm and can't do anything for themselves, but not this kind of work. Not the kind of work that we're talking about here, where farming bosses need to go to Romania to get young, fit people to bend over double in a field for 8 hours a day. You wouldn't be able to do that at 60 years old. You'd be in hospital, in traction. But I wish you all the best with your allotments. Well done you, Pam. Send us a potato in the post. Is Glasgow. Eric.
Hello, Nick. Thanks very much for having me on this marvellous show. I would like to just address a couple of questions, not a couple of questions, a couple of points with you regarding the PPE of our government's distribution to the country. Mm-hmm. And speaking firsthand from a British Army soldier of 19 years old in Iraq, I bought my own armour and my own boots in Iraq. And the government wasn't prepared to distribute that equipment. However, we're on another side of the war here. Why can't we recycle this stuff, this PPE, which doctors, nurses and frontline staff from your cleaners, why can't we get the Dettol and the washing machines going and starting to recycle the stuff and stop people moaning? You need to go on with it. Now's not the time to moan.
Well, it depends what you mean by moan. I mean, if you're tasked with saving people's lives and in doing so you are having to risk your own because the government can't get the right equipment to you, then I think you're perfectly justified in moaning. But you're right about the lack of equipment that was... You're right about the lack of equipment that was given to the army when they were in Iraq and Afghanistan and so on. We've been here before. The government says that they're absolutely all over it and everyone's getting all of the equipment that they need. And people who are actually in want of that equipment to save their blooming lives are saying, oh, no, they're not.
I'm saying is if they're using, say, 7 aprons a day and 10 aprons a day, you can't. Is this stuff recyclable? Can we not recycle this stuff so they can put it back on? Or is COVID-19 a point where
I have
you can't?
I have no idea.
Exactly.
And neither do you.
But
but some of it must be, and some of it isn't. I mean, I think that masks have to be thrown away. Certain ones, anyway, because the virus will cling to those masks and make you ill and anybody that you come into contact with ill. I mean, let's assume that they are washing the ones and reusing them that they can, but the ones that they can't, they are in need of. I mean, they keep saying it over and over again. I'm going to trust the people in the actual hospitals rather than the politicians behind the lecterns.
I completely agree with you, Nick, but if we're going to start being... this is not the British way. If we're going to start binning things or not recycling this stuff just because of you being near somebody, and this has happened because you're near somebody, you've got some gloves on and you're fully protective, you're binning all your gowns and all your masks and all your equipment to recycle and not recycling it again. It's not going to work. It's not going to work at all. We need to start thinking about recycling your gowns, recycling your masks.
All right. Well, let's assume that the medical profession know what they're on about, and if they can recycle, they do, and if they can't, they won't, and that's an end to it. Maidstone, Anne.
Hello, hi there. Anne. I was just going to say, I don't know what we expect, like us as a country. I don't know what we expect anymore. No one knows what this virus is doing, or the way it's going, or anything. It's all new to us. Why do we keep on comparing to other countries? I just think that we have to look at our own countries. Every country's different. The dynamics are all different and everything. And, I mean, I believe in England. I believe in our country, the United Kingdom. And I believe in our government, and I'm happy for them to take us forward with this. I mean, I absolutely
but now, wait a minute. But do you believe in them because they're British, or because they've proven themselves to be up to the task?
Up to the task, absolutely.
Well, what leads you to that conclusion? What evidence do you have that that's true?
I don't have any evidence to tell me that it's not.
Right. Well, that's not the question I asked.
Yes, and I don't.
But that's not. I'm not asking you for an absence of proof. I'm asking you what leads you to the conclusion that they're up to the task.
Because I believe that we have an open and honest government, as opposed to. Yes, I do. As opposed
the scientists, the evidence that they are using to formulate their plan is, they say, guided by the science. Now, the science is given to them by a group of people whose names we are not allowed to know, and nor are we allowed to know what this science is that they're basing their advice on.
Science on.
Yeah, so it's all secret. Yes. So how can you say that this is an open process? It's the opposite of that.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but I also understand that we have to keep some things close to our chest. You know, it's like everything. But I do believe that, I mean, why would anybody want to live in China, for instance?
Is that the alternative?
The alternative is to live in England.
Well, I don't think it's just us. And if you don't like England, you can go and live in China.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is, but imagine living in China under these circumstances.
Yeah.
You know,
I'd rather not, if it's okay with you.
Yeah, but at least we have the free press, and we can actually speak, and we can talk about these things. They can't.
Yeah.
And this is where it all stemmed from. And I just think it's mind-boggling when our own country wants to pick faults in everything that we're doing, when I think, my God, it's a new virus. We do not know where this is going to lead. We do not know.
No, but we can have a fair idea. Experts and epidemiologists do have a fair idea of what a virus breakout like this involves. The government was told in a briefing that they got last year about this exact scenario. Over and over again, they were told, and everything that was in the briefing has come true. So they can't hide behind the excuse that nobody knew and it couldn't have been predicted and all this is unprecedented and blah, 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 because they were given the evidence, they were told what to do, and they didn't do anything. And now they're playing catch up. Now, I understand what you're saying, that in times of great emergency, we go to the flag and we get patriotic and we must support our boys. You know, when we go to war, the sun will be down there waving our boys off, and they'll print the Union Jack on the front of the paper and everyone will feel patriotic pride. But that's not what is happening here. Politicians are making political decisions, be they based on what some scientists say or not. And this is the time for scrutiny. We can't just let them get on with it and hope for the best. These aren't experts, they're politicians. And their primary concern, as we know, was Brexit rather than this virus. They're playing catch up on this. So now is not the time to just say, OK, well, we're Britain and we'll get through this and we trust our government, and because they've not shown themselves to be trustworthy. And Boris Johnson in particular has not shown himself to be trustworthy. So I'm reserving my judgment.
Okay. Well, we can leave this then, that we'll agree to disagree.
All right. Well, that's a nice way to end. Thanks very much.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Cheers, my dear. Let's have Edinburgh. Eric.
Hi, Nick. Okay.
Yeah, good, thanks.
I spoke to you last night and you suddenly done a disappearing up.
Oh, yes.
Anyway, I'd like to make a few comparisons with 1968-69. There was a Hong Kong pandemic then. I don't know if you knew about that. And do you know a major event that happened during that time?
A what pandemic?
The Hong Kong flu pandemic.
Oh, right. Oh, the Hong Kong flu, right.
And I think that killed about 1 million people. And during that time, they had the Woodstock Festival.
Yeah.
And there was about 400,000 people that attended that.
Yeah.
And obviously there was no lockdown.
Not practicing social distancing, not any of them.
Yes, that's right, yeah. And it didn't stop Jimi Hendrix either.
Licking strangers' faces they were, I bet.
Yeah, so that was a different kettle of fish then. But now, I think there's something they're not telling us, because this virus isn't suddenly going to go away, is it?
Well, no, of course not.
So I can't see the point of this lockdown, because once you lift it, it's going to come back and back and back. And the only way it's going to be solved is when the population is exposed to
it. Yes, there is some thought. It's actually that we're staying in, and it's getting, it's mutating to an even stronger form by us not getting it. I didn't quite follow the science, but experts say that it is possible that it's becoming worse by not being passed on to a larger number of people, by dint of us staying inside. It actually could become more deadly. But you know, that's for the that's something to worry about in the future. Let's worry about this right here now.
Well, apparently, I think there's about 50 virologists from all over the world said that this is an overreaction. What's happening?
I think that it will be written up in the future as one of the biggest overreactions to anything that has ever happened. Yeah.
Yes.
So here it is about the 1968 flu pandemic, the Hong Kong flu pandemic of 1968, global outbreak of influenza that originated in China and lasted from 68 to 1970. The outbreak was the third influenza pandemic to occur in the 20th century. The 68 flu pandemic resulted in an estimated 1 to 4 million deaths.
Yes.
And what happened during the course of that? I mean, I was very, very, very young at the time, just 8 years old, so I wasn't really paying much attention. But not much, really. I mean, 68 was all hippie drippiness, and people were expressing themselves by engaging in free love with strangers. So no, I don't think people were social distancing at all.
No, that's right. Do you know what I would like them to do, which they won't, is to get some data of everyone who's had the flu vaccine who's died from this.
Well, what's that got to do with it?
Because that can increase your risk, apparently.
Oh, says who?
Says the experts. Not the experts here, experts.
Yes. You've read that having the flu, the flu jab, the ordinary yearly flu jab, actually makes you more susceptible to this coronavirus. Yes. Well, I'd need to see the evidence. I'd need to see the evidence for that. But keep your eyes peeled. Thanks a lot, mate. Tottenham. Hello, Saul.
Oh, hello, Nick. Thanks for taking my call.
Saul.
I just thought I'd give you a call because I'm really relieved of Boris Johnson's stance. I think the whole government's sort of thinking a bit outside the box as they started as they meant to go on. I just think it's sensible. I mean,
you think what is sensible?
I think the idea that we've just all got to get it. I mean, everyone, I've sort of got the general vibe here. Here the shops are full of toilet roll and hand sanitizers. It's full of it. Stanford Hill's full of it, and everyone's Orthodox Jews. I mean, they wash their hands 5 times a day. But I mean, one just thing is everyone here is just like, let's just get it. I mean, my dad's had it. He had like a high temperature and he had a cough for 4 or 5 days. He self-isolated. Wasn't that bad. Most people they haven't got. So now let's do the maths, because you talked about maths to suit your feelings.
Yeah.
So I've got to correct you on this. So first of all, you can't compare the maths. In my opinion, you can't look at the maths of the whole world because everything's culturally very different. In Italy, you've got the biggest ratio of old people in the world, and a lot of them live at home, and also they're heavy smokers, and it's affected the men a lot. In England, unfortunately, sadly, a lot of people are quite secluded here, and also, if you look at the maths, we've had 1,200. We stopped testing. The guy said there could be 10,000. We had 21 deaths. That's 0.012. Okay, that's extremely low.
Yes, but
I think people got to get. I mean, we've got to get it quit.
Yes, Saul.
And you've got to get it quit because you sound hysterical, and I'm sounding hysterical with you.
I sound hysterical to you?
Yes, you are hysterical. And basically, you talk for 25 minutes hysterically, and then you got onto rats and rabbits. But basically, we just all got to get it, and that's the general
Saul, you have a low bar on hysteria if you think that I sound hysterical.
Well, but you don't normally sound hysterical. But tonight, you've really, really bought into it all. And
I've bought into it all. I mean, what are you talking about? I've bought. Are you telling me that this is not a thing?
No, it is a big thing, but we've got to put things into perspective. We can't start quoting maths of the whole world. We've got to look at the culture of England and why there's been so few deaths here. Why has there been so few?
There's been so few deaths here because we're 2 weeks after Italy, apparently. Give us 2 weeks and we'll be where they are.
Apparently. Do you know what I mean? But in Korea, they're on a par with Italy. It's like some sort of strange horse race. But they've had very few deaths and very few infections. Why? Because in South Korea, people don't shake hands. They just sort of bow in front of each other. I mean, that's how they do it over there. And there's been very few infections. I mean, what I'm saying is they're going to close schools. I mean, I go to schools every day. And they are some of the cleanest places you can imagine.
Oh, get lost. Schools? You're kidding me. I've been to schools, Saul. I went to school my whole childhood, and the clean wasn't in it.
Clean's in it now.
It most certainly is not. Kids are not clean. They're the opposite of clean.
I go there every day to a different school. I've seen full classes. I haven't seen one kid has it. You have to wash your hands when you go in. The teachers are all controlled. It's the most controlled, safe place to be. If anything goes on...
All right, so you're right. There's nothing to worry about. Everything's fine. Okay, sure. Anything you say. Here's Colville. Martin.
Hi, Nick. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Oh, good. Lovely to speak to you, by the way. I'm listening to your show quite a lot. I'm just sort of wondering if this frying pan in China sort of has sort of gone all the way to this country. Sort of this weekend stopped me seeing my 3-week-old granddaughter, and going on forward, wreck the economy. And if this was sort of in England now, it was a warehouse, for example, whereby you can imagine if some kind of like canteen had a virus and killed all the staff, or maybe doing that the HSC would be in and there'd be someone to be accountable. Do you think we'll be accountable with China?
Do I think we will be accountable with China?
Not me and you, Nick. No, I meant as in like this country, maybe.
Do you mean we should hold China accountable? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's come from a faraway place, and our economy's struggling now. Our lives have been changed, and I don't seem to see anything coming sort of back the other way.
Back the other way? Well, you want them to give us money or something?
Not particularly, no. But
well, what is it? What is it that you're after? Are you saying that we should blame China? Let's take this step by step.
Yeah, let's go for it. It's come that way to Europe. China's economy now is growing, and is it? That's what I'm reading on social media, or should I just ignore it?
Oh, social media. Oh, well, you should have said. You read it on Twitter. Well, it must be true. Yeah.
Well,
it may be growing now compared to what it was a couple of weeks ago, but I very much doubt that it's growing compared to where it was last year. But anyway, it doesn't really make no difference.
No, it doesn't. No, and I agree with that. But do you think somewhere along the line that the world will make this a balancing place and someone will be accountable? Do we know really where this has started?
Well, no. If you read social media, then it started as a bioweapon in Russia, or it started in
You've read social media then, haven't you?
A lab in China, or it was visited upon us by God in space because of, I don't know, lesbians. I've got no idea. Could be any of the above.
Yeah. But okay, good point. Do you think this will all sort of come out in the open exactly what has happened, or
no? Impossible.
No,
how could you? This it's not Hollywood. You can't trace it back to that woman from the Goop. What's the name of that? I keep forgetting what her name is. The one with the Goop website. She was in that film about exactly this. Gwyneth Paltrow. Yeah, it's not Gwyneth. You can't trace it back to Gwyneth Paltrow's fault. No. Yeah, thanks a lot, Gwyneth. You couldn't have gone to McDonald's. You had to have bat soup. Cheers, my dear.
Yeah. Okay. So final point. Forgive me now.
Final question.
A final question. It's not a question now, but yeah. Oh. I mean, there's a lot of people now that sort of like are staying at home. They've missed Easter, and you're sort of losing 3 days of young children's lives, families, etc., etc. Where do you think the balance will come whereby, well, not you, I know you can't sort of answer this, but where do you think possibly the government will get to the point whereby they're going to say, actually, enough's enough, people need to get out, people need to have their life back?
Yes, well, there's a giant experiment going on, isn't there? Because we are not... There hasn't been a decision in every country in the world to treat this virus in the same way. I mean, there's a country that's quite near us that is similar-ish that has gone completely the other way. Huh?
Oh, sorry.
Wales. Wales? No, not Wales.
Oh, sorry.
Sweden. But I'll come to that in a minute, because Sweden are conducting an experiment. Well, we all are, I guess, and we won't know who wins until all the points have been tallied at the end. So, isn't it exciting? Doncaster, Tony.
Nick.
Tony.
I thought
okay, great call.
For the first hour of the show, you went a little bit overboard.
In what way?
Well, don't start getting your hackers up.
In what way, Tony? We've got 3 minutes to go. Pick up speed.
That's more than enough. You know, you entered into this like 1969 hippie thing where, you know, we want to go back to the garden and we don't want any more of this devil's bargain. We want to, like, you know, have the birds singing, and we don't want any traffic, and all this going to work. You know, we don't really want to do that anymore. Why should we do it anymore?
I don't know what show you're listening to, Tony, but that's not really what I said at all. Liking birdsong in the morning doesn't mean to say we should destroy capitalism.
No, that's the way you were coming across.
Well, that's not the way I said it. Well, your perception does not necessarily reflect the facts, Tony. The fault may lie at your door.
I think you'll find that the majority of the perception of your first hour was exactly that. For example...
No, your perception of my first hour was exactly that. You can't speak for the rest of the population, Tony. And your opinion is coloured by your own values. Why anybody would pick a fight with birds at this point, I've really got no idea. Leave those birds alone, Tony. They've done nothing to you. But I wish you all the best. Thanks a lot, mate. Durham. Hello, Mike.
Hi, Nick. Well, so it was going to be one thing, but three things. First, don't get hysterical.
Yeah.
Second thing, don't get auctioneers cold soul coming on speaking so fast that it's very difficult to understand them. But the main point is the medical scientists at the moment are having an argument over whether we're doing it correctly or whether Europe's doing it correctly or China's doing it correctly. And there's a fair bit of difference on this. But what do you think about the comparison with economists? Because 100% of economists I've heard on LBC and other channels on the telly are saying that our way of dealing with it is definitely the best way, economically, of dealing with it. Whether 200 die or 2 million die, we will benefit economically from doing it our way.
What it? Doing it?
Sorry?
What is it that they're referring to, it?
Well, our way of dealing with the coronavirus.
Yeah, but
the medical scientists are arguing we're doing it wrong. We're doing it wrong. Right. Europe are doing it wrong. China doing it wrong.
Never mind about all the deaths. Let's talk about the money, honey. But what is it that they're saying that we're doing right?
The economists. Yeah. If we have it in one big hit, and then people do manage to, which is a gamble, but if we do manage to get herd immunity, our economy will then pick up and go forwards.
I think you're misunderstanding what the government are trying to do. The government keeps saying that they're not trying to. It's the opposite of that. They're not trying to get everything in one big hit. They're trying to flatten the sombrero. This peak is what they're trying to avoid.
Exactly.
But how can you avoid it if everybody's all hugger-mugger?
Exactly. But what our lot are trying to do is to flatten one hit into a bit of a smear between now and late summer. What the Danish, and there was a Danish guy on and a Swedish guy on, and what they're saying is that they want to kill the initial impact of it now. It will come back again, but when it gets reasonably bad, they'll kill it again. When it comes back again third time, they'll kill it again, and they're going to smear it out over a year or 18 months, giving their health services a chance to deal with it. Our lot are saying we want loads of people infected and then smear the actual crunch out over 3 or 4 months.
Yes, but that doesn't make any... Yes, Mike, that doesn't make any sense. If everybody is going to be all just congregating as normal, then we're going to get a massive spike immediately. But they're not going to smear anything out. It's not going to be flattening the spike. It's going to be increasing it, surely.
Well, yes, but Matt Hancock it's just been announced that Matt Hancock is going to say that all old people should self-isolate.
Yeah, but that's different. Yeah, that's a completely
but
different
everyone
issue.
Else can get it, so that because young people aren't going to suffer from this.
Well, that's not a blanket rule, but yes, overall, yeah.
Yeah, but that's herd immunity. We're trying to achieve herd immunity in 6 months. The rest of the world is saying we'll try and achieve herd immunity over 18 months. No, and the danger is if our lot get it slightly wrong, we'll get a load more deaths than they will.
Yeah. It seems to me that the government is going on what's best for the economy rather than what is best for individuals. I mean, you may have, I don't know whether that's true or not, but that was my initial feeling, that if all of the other countries are going on the medical advice, it seems, and it wouldn't be a total surprise really from a Conservative government, but that they are going on what's best for the economy rather than what's best for individuals. That was the thought that occurred to me as to why we are doing it completely different to everybody else. And we're sort of in consort with America in that regard. Maida Vale. Hello, Catherine.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Did you ever get your washing machine installed?
What?
Oh, never mind.
What washing
your
machine?
Washing machine. The last time I spoke to you, you were looking for someone to install your new washing machine.
No, I don't think so. I think you may be hallucinating, Catherine. I haven't had a new washing machine for years.
Oh, I got it wrong then. Maybe it's a fridge.
No, also wrong. I think you got the wrong person.
Oh, how are you?
I'm okay. What did you want, Catherine? Anything at all, or just a
Well, I wanted to make one or two serious points.
Right, I doubt that, but go ahead.
Well, regarding, going back to the 5G thing, we don't know that high-frequency radio waves and electrical impulses, we don't know whether they, over the planet, all around the planet, could be disturbing the human organism in some way that is possibly reducing
intelligence,
human immunity.
Right.
That possibly might make us more susceptible to virulent viruses.
Stupidity, yeah.
Now, we don't know that, do we?
Who don't?
Well, any of us.
We don't know
the scientists or lay people or anyone. We don't know.
We don't know what?
Whether the modern technology...
Yeah, you're talking about 5G?
Not necessarily just 5G, any
what
kind
then?
of G.
Yeah, any kind of G you got.
And added together with things like pollution, exhaust.
Yeah, well, we know that pollution is bad for us. Exhaust fumes are bad for us. We know that.
Yes, and other elements, chemical.
We know chemicals are bad for you. Don't drink chemicals.
Chemical production.
Yeah, also bad for you.
Nuclear radiation is
obviously very bad for you. Yes.
So
try to limit your nuclear radiation to a couple of buckets a day.
Well, this is it, Nick. I mean, perhaps we're killing ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, modern life is very, very dangerous. There's no doubt about that. It would be better if we all lived up a hill and stayed in a yurt in Wales. We'd probably live longer, or it might just seem like we live longer. We might die earlier, but boy, would it seem like a long time.
Personally, I'd like to be up in the Himalayas.
Yeah, I'd like you to be up in the Himalayas. There's no signal up there.
Just pure oxygen.
Yeah.
And another thing. Well, we don't know what actually happened in Wuhan.
What do you mean we don't? What do you mean we don't know?
We don't know because the Chinese are very secretive, as you know. A friend of mine recently said, and I don't know where she got her information from.
No, but it's almost certainly true because it was, she said it. Go ahead.
Well, she said that next to the wet market where the virus was apparently originated from, there was a laboratory of some kind.
Well, that's it. Proof positive.
I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. Yeah, okay. So
we know. Do we really know? Is the World Health Organization leveling with the public?
Or is it an organisation that's actually trying to just thin out the population? Make fewer of us. They're trying to kill us, Catherine. We don't know that they're not. So it's certainly true.
We don't know.
No, we don't know. No, we don't know. No, we don't. We don't know.
You have to have some faith, obviously, in organisations and leading organisations. I mean, you have to have some faith, but
we don't know.
We don't.
No, we don't. Okay, thanks a lot, Catherine. What I took from that call is that we don't know. Let's have a call in Bromley. Luke.
Hi. That made me laugh. 2:30, absolutely. Listen, I think we've given the government a real hard time considering the job that they have in hand. They basically need 100,000 reusable gowns every day, That's pretty tough going to provide that. And logistically, trying to get that around the country is not easy. And when the whole world are after the same stuff, again. Now, you look at the amount of gloves, they're double gloving, okay? So, goodness, I presume that they need as many gloves as they do overalls, because obviously you're changing the gloves more often, plus a doubling. So, when people are saying they're not doing a good job, I think, like you said earlier, they are actually doing quite a few things. Yes, of course, there's a massive learning, and they've managed to run the NHS for pretty good for quite a while. They haven't been short in the past. But could they have anticipated this need?
I assume you're joking. You're saying that the Conservatives have run the NHS pretty well. Is that what you just said, or is
no?
That
just generally
misreading?
I'm just saying the NHS has run. I'm talking about PPE. They've had enough PPE.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, just go on PPE for a minute. So
yeah,
look, and then you look at the underground. Okay, the underground, they're proposing that everyone's going to need a face mask. Well, that is 2 million people a day use the underground. Okay, 2 million face masks going to be needed. And Canary Wharf has, 40 million people use Canary Wharf Underground every year. So this is a huge requirement in the whole world. We haven't even looked at Africa yet. When it hits Africa, it's going to be, the need over there is going to be massive.
It's going to be a different order of magnitude. Yes, but never mind about Africa. We're talking about us now. Sure. And why is it that Turkey has so much PPE that they can afford to send us 84 tons of it?
They're not using it.
They're not using it?
They'd rather sell it. They're just trying to help the economy right now. Yeah.
I don't believe that for a second.
Well,
the amount of money that you get for 84 tons of PPE is neither here nor there compared to the cost of lives lost and the economy shattered. No, I don't believe that for a moment.
But it's had to replace their tourism and everything. They've got to do something. And also they're charging obviously 3 times as much, plus apparently the transportation has gone up about 3 times as well. So they're making some from it, but ultimately they're just confined everyone. But their health service is nothing like ours. They're not using 100,000 a day. You know what I mean? So
no, I don't. I don't really accept anything you just said, but I appreciate the call. Let's have a call in Leicester. Chris.
Oh, hi Nick. You okay?
Yeah, good. Thanks.
This is the third time, I think.
Third time what?
Third time caller.
Oh yes.
Why is Germany...
Can you speak up a bit, or can the man on the desk turn you up a bit?
Turn up a bit. Why has Germany got the lowest death rate in the EU?
Probably because they had the highest number of hospital beds per head of population. That might have something to do with it. I think they also have a huge number of nurses per head of population as well.
I disagree, Nick.
Go on.
I think they've hogged all the respirators and ventilators in the whole of the EU. And after this crisis, they are the reason why the EU is going to fail. It's going to collapse. What's your opinion on that?
Well, where do you get this information, Chris? Just curious.
This is my personal opinion, but if you look at this...
So you're basing this opinion on no information of any kind whatsoever.
Well, just like you do, Nick, but I'm just saying...
No, I tend to look things up and then cross-check them rather than just accuse an entire country of hogging all the ventilators based on no information of any kind, Chris. What are you talking about?
No, just let me explain, please, Nick, for one time. If you look at the data, okay...
What data?
If you look at the death rate data... You can obviously see that they are hogging ventilators. It's as simple as that.
No, you can't. You can see nothing of the sort, Chris. How do you get from one to the other? No, you can't. How do you get from one to the other?
Well, they are the head of the EU. Well, I'm glad we're out.
No, there's no such thing.
They are
the ways in which you're getting this wrong, Chris, is like a kaleidoscope of errors.
No, Nick. What I'm saying is very right here.
Well, yeah, I'll agree with you on that. Yeah, it is very right, as in wing.
Are they hogging ventilators? Yes or no?
I've got no idea. Of course they're not. They're sending us ventilators, crying out loud. What are you talking about? Hogging ventilators. Where did you get that from? Just because they're having a success in treating patients, that means that they're cheating somehow?
Yes.
Well, because they're German? Good God, Chris, the Second World War is over. Get out of the trenches, man. Stop. Turn the History Channel off. It's frying your brain. Do yourself a favour and call me later when you've had a change of heart, or don't. That would be that actually be my first choice. Plumstead, Lynn.
Hello there. Hi, Nick.
Hello there.
Hi there. Yeah. I've been waiting for quite a while to get on, so I've been listening to everything.
No.
No problem. But I phoned originally. I'm a socialist and I'm a trade unionist. And I rang originally, and I still am ringing, in defence of Lawrence, the postie. I think the thing is, whilst you may not, and they may not, both men and women posties, be on the front line in exactly the same way as health workers and shop workers, face-to-face.
Not remotely in the same way, not even close.
That, Nick. I really enjoy your show and lots of stuff here. But listen, posties work in the office for quite a long time, working quite next to each other in not 50 meters stuff.
Yeah, you know who else works in an office?
Just not the posties. Yes, go on.
Everybody. Everybody works in an office.
However,
except for the people that work in factories.
Yes, and they all do. And these are the frontline workers, every single one of them, that actually
they're not. No, they're not. No, they're not.
No, listen,
they're not frontline workers.
I've been waiting me an hour to get on.
Go ahead.
So let me have my little piece, okay? All I would say, every worker is a key worker in many respects because they're making the world tick. When you need something,
well, then it becomes meaningless. Then I'm afraid, Lynn, it becomes meaningless. The phrase, if everybody is a key worker, then the phrase is meaningless.
No, you're wrong, and I'm right. If you need your car fixed, you do not go to a hedge fund manager, okay? You do not go to a banker. You go to somebody in your street or in the local town centre that can help you. But make whatever you like. We make the world tick, and you know it. I have heard you call yourself a socialist, and that's fine by me.
I don't believe I have ever done such a thing.
You did the other night, and my ears pricked up with glee, I can tell you, because that's exactly what you said. You did.
I don't think it was what I said, Lynn. What day was that?
It was only this week. Absolutely
which day?
This week.
Was it yesterday or the day before?
Come on, give me a break. I'm not doing your
Lynn,
job.
was it yesterday or was it the day before?
I think it was
the day before that.
Okay,
well, that wasn't me. I wasn't on that day.
Well, come on, give me a break. I'm
not going to give you a break. You're now accusing me of saying something on the air on a day that I wasn't even here.
Look, okay, you're the presenter, I'm the listener, so I may have something wrong. We're talking right now of serious stuff, right, where you know and I know, because you are the better Nick than the other Nick, okay? You are more of a socialist than the other Nick, okay? Fine.
Wow.
You listen to me, and you know this. Listen, you know that we've got shop workers, posties, firefighters, nurses, doctors, all the workers of the world, making it all tick. And we're the ones,
we're
workers,
all essential workers. Yes, all right, I get it, Lynn. We're all essential workers, but if we're all essential workers, let me restate. Listen to me. Absolutely, I am. Are you kidding me? If I wasn't here, then you'd be talking to yourself, Lynn.
You listen to me. I've waited 1 hour to get on.
Yeah, okay, please. Okay, unfortunately, I haven't got control on the desk. Please turn this shouting woman off. I'm a minute and a half after the past the break, Lynn. I am an essential worker. If I wasn't here, you'd be yelling into space. If everyone's an essential worker, then that phrase has no meaning. Canuck, Michael.
Hello there.
Hello there.
You're on about gas masks or respirators.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and I used to wear them in the army, mate. Terrible, terrible.
Oh, they? What do you mean, terrible? In what way?
They don't work. You can't work in them. No. We used to have half an hour a week working in them just to get accumulated to the fact that if there was we got gas, that we'd have them on.
Yes.
But they mist up or fog up, and you can't see where you're doing with walking out and bumping into each other.
Yeah, but that's not the kind of those aren't the kind of masks that people are trying to get hold of, though, are they? I mean, that's a gas mask. That's something very specific, isn't it? That's a whole head thing, right?
Correct.
Yeah. People want those half mask things.
Well, I wouldn't think that'd work because you've got to have a seal over the whole of your face.
Yeah.
For them to work, otherwise you're going to draw in the gas.
That's right. Yeah.
So there you go. But I've made my own mask anyway.
Have you? Out of what?
I'll give you the recipe.
Go on,
then. Bubble wrap, 10-inch square piece, 2 rubber bands, and 4 staples. You staple the bands to the bubble mask halfway up.
Yeah.
And that goes over your face, and you can, when you bring it back home, you can wash it because you can wash all if you've got something on it, you can wash it up. The normal masks, what you have, the paper ones, you can't do nothing with them. You wear them for a day, and then you have to throw them away and get another one.
I understand that part makes sense, but the bubble wrap part doesn't.
Why?
How does air get through bubble wrap?
Well, you don't want it to get. It don't, does it? You don't want it to.
Right. So what about breathing?
Yeah, you're all right. It works. You've got if you haven't got gaps right in. If somebody sort of coughs in front of you, it'll go onto the outside of the mask, hopefully, and you can breathe through it because there's gaps round it.
Right, so you might as well not actually have it.
Other wraps as well, otherwise they wouldn't be able to breathe, would they? Be like putting a plastic bag over your head.
Yeah, well, that sounds like the next best thing. Yeah, put a plastic bag over your head and tie it securely at the neck.
You could go out in a complete bin liners.
Yeah. You know those, I think they're called Zorb, those Zorb balls. You know those balls like hamster things that you climb into entirely and then you bounce around the place? That should be our main form of transport from now on. Thanks a lot, Michael. But please don't follow his instructions. That doesn't sound like a very good idea at all. Merseyside, Isla.
Hiya, Nick. Hiya, first of all, I just want to say, we weren't all, to come out the EU to see the back of the European people. It wasn't about that. It was to get the borders up properly.
No, I don't buy that at all. I don't buy that at all. Mostly it was we didn't want to be surrounded by foreigners. But let's not go down that road again.
Well, you've just gone down that road and you're quoting things that aren't true. We just want
it is true. It's absolutely true. The overriding feeling among people who voted to leave the European Union wasn't anything about borders or any of that. It was they wanted to be surrounded by fewer foreigners.
No. BS.
Absolutely.
BS. A load of BS. But first of all, I'd like to say, if the government want British people to pick the farm produce, they should be fast-tracking them to the end of the season so they don't lose their homes. Because if you come out of work or go into work, it's not easy to access back into the system when there's no work anymore. And this is seasonal work, and it needs to be actually done properly from the top. And again, I say, Nick, this wasn't about ousting people. This is a cultural country, and all cultures have been welcomed because that's the way we are. And the fact is this, really. The job is not getting done properly because of skeleton crews
on jobs, like on bringing people into the country. 149.3 million people come in this country every year. That was the statistics in 2019.
149.3 million people? What are you talking about?
9 million are coming in this country all the time on average.
149.3 million people? Are you talking about tourists?
No, I'm talking about students, people that work here, people that
149.3 million people, Isla?
Yes, that is
Do you know how many people live in this country?
Well, look at it this way. There's 56.7 million people that live here, isn't there? Plus, we'll just go by the 2019 statistics. Now,
right,
12 million
so at any one time, according to you, there's 200 million people in this country?
No, there's 56.7 billion people here, isn't there? Million people here.
Well, it's a bit more than that, but it depends whether you're just talking about England. But so the 149...
I'm talking about 2019, the statistics in the UK. Now,
149 million people come here every year, Isla, to do what?
To visit family, to work, to study.
So like I said, tourists or business people, perhaps they stay a couple of days, a week at most, and then they leave.
Well, okay.
What difference does that make?
That's the footage that's coming through the country of a year. Now, the thing is, it's 2-to-1 support in this country. 2-to-1 ratio is supporting this country, Nick. Now, you've got 56.7. Let me just
wait. Stop. Isla, stop throwing...
Our pensioners.
Okay, turn her down. Stop speaking. What are you talking about, Isla? You seem to have a lot of numbers up your sleeve, but none of them make any sense. And you're not willing to actually converse with me. You're just willing to shout at me. So I wish you all the best. What on earth was that about? You can call me Mr. Fide. Let's have Leeds. Jen.
Hiya.
Jen.
Hello. So I've been listening to you all night. I feel for you. But,
I haven't been on all night, Jen. I've only been on 40 minutes.
Well, it seemed like a lifetime.
I know, doesn't it just? Yeah, time just drags when you're out of your mind. Yeah.
How are you feeling about everything?
I'm feeling just
listen to a personal
fine.
view of yours.
Personal view of mine about what?
So let's go to lockdown. Let's go back to, 6, 7, 8 weeks ago when we all started having to take it seriously. That proper lockdown moment. What was the scariest bit of that for you? What was the bit that made you go, "Oh no, this is worrying"? What happened? What made you feel like that? Because everyone has. What was yours?
What is this, a therapy session?
No, I'm working through it for people that are living through it properly, and you are too. You're a human being. You must have had a feeling about it. What was it?
A feeling about what?
Lockdown, when it happened.
Yeah. Well, I know that you're not supposed to say this out loud. You're not supposed to actually express this opinion by speaking it, but I'm quite enjoying it.
Okay, well that's allowed. That's okay.
Is it? Because I feel that it kind of isn't allowed, because there's a lot of people that aren't enjoying it at all. But while the weather is nice, Jen, I'm quite enjoying it.
The weather's okay, and you're enjoying it, and you're allowed to do that. I wouldn't want to make you feel uncomfortable about living your life
Jen.
at all.
All right.
But what I am going to ask you as well is, I'm a frontline worker.
What does that mean?
I'm a union. Okay. You just asked me what a frontline worker means.
I know I did. That was me that asked it.
Okay,
what's a frontline worker?
To you tell me.
Jen, you are full of questions. I've got no idea what kind of show you think this is, but let me ask you again. What do you do for a living?
I'm a frontline worker.
Yeah, you said that, but that's not what you do for a living. What do you do?
I think you find that I do frontline working is my living.
But what does that mean?
Exactly. What does that mean to you?
Oh my God, Jen, what do you do for a living? Tell me what you do.
I look after
Time's running
very
out.
vulnerable children.
You do what?
Very vulnerable children. I look after.
Yeah, but
I make
you
sure
look
they're
after
safe.
very vulnerable
I teach
children.
them.
Okay.
I keep them
You're a
safe.
teacher.
I know.
Okay,
I'm
finally
not
we got
having
there.
any PPE. I haven't got any. But I go
Right,
into
well-
work on my rota and I work that. And I do it.
In a school?
Yes, in a school.
But I thought schools were closed.
Oh, what about the key worker children? What about the EHCP children? What about all of the children that are vulnerable? No, they're not closed.
Okay.
Love.
All right.
I've been going into work and looking after those children. I don't know why
All right,
you're
well-
laughing. Because these
Because
are the
you called.
key
I'm
worker
laughing, Jen, because
children.
you called me love. That's why I'm laughing. Well, okay, but what's the point of
I
this
could have
call?
called you something else, but I chose
we
not
could have.
to.
No, well, we'd have disappeared you if you'd have strayed without outside the
So,
bounds, Jen.
answer the question.
What's the question?
Pick one. I've asked you plenty.
I don't know what your problem, Jen, is, but it's beyond my ability to help you on this show. I can't do it, but whatever it is, I hope that you get help eventually. God, what the hell was that about? Does anybody have any idea? Nice attitude, by the way. Are you sure you're in the right job? Murcia in Spain. Hello, Bob.
Hello, Nick. You all right?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Yeah, fine. I'm ringing up regarding I've been watching the news again all night, and
no, don't do it. Switch the news off. Turn off your mind and relax and float downstream.
I watch it all the time. I jot down the figures, and it's laughable, really, in the sense that Spain, where I've been here 17 years now, Spain, they've got fantastic hospitals. They've got good hospitals, good service. Great service. But the people, we pay for it. We pay for that. Big time. If you're working, you pay 200 euros a month for that. Easy for that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big lump out of your money. Big lump out of your money. But
how do you think we pay for the NHS? How do you think we pay for the NHS, Bob?
Pay what, sorry?
How do you think we pay for the NHS? With money.
Yeah, but you don't pay 25% of your wages out of it.
Do me a favour. Nobody pays 25% of their wages for the health service.
I really do.
No, you don't, Bob. You may have lived in Spain for a good long while, but you have got no idea what you're talking about. The Spanish people are not charged 25% tax for their health service.
I was paying 365 euros a month for my business. That was for my tax and the national
For your
health.
business?
Yeah, I had a bar. And I had to pack that up. But the point I'm trying to make is that we run down here, you can only go have one in a car. You can't go two of you can't go in a car. You have to have one person in the car only. The police will stop you if you've got more than one in your car. You have to tell them where you're going, and there's 4 places you can go in where I live. You can go to the supermarket, the chemist, the cigarette shop, and the bank.
The cigarette shop.
The 4 places. Yeah, you got to have the cigarette shop, haven't you? You got to have the cigarette shop.
Yeah, you got to go to the bank to get your money, and then you go to the drug dealer to spend the money. Yeah, of course, makes sense.
There's only so you can't buy your cigarettes in shops. It's from a cigarette shop. And there's only one.
Right. But what point are you making, Bob? Other than it's different in Spain.
Different in Spain. It seems to be more. I've lost all of my English now.
Oh well, thank goodness for that. Speak to us in Spanish.
Okay, I'll speak to you in Spanish. Possibly más.
Yes, doth the thverthoth, the thil vu play. All right, thanks a lot, Bob. Time's up. I preferred it when he was speaking Spanish. At least I couldn't understand a blind word he was saying then. Cardiff, Laurel.
Hello.
Laurel.
Hi, I'd like to talk to you about face masks.
Yes.
Right, I am absolutely convinced that if we can get over our national prejudice against showing our faces, that we can reduce the spread of this disease.
A natural prejudice of showing our faces? How do you mean?
Yes. Well, up until now, it's been illegal, hasn't it, to go out with a mask on?
Has it?
Well, I don't think the police like you wearing crash helmets or balaclavas.
Well, if you're on a march, yeah, I guess.
I don't know, but
if you're on a bike, not so much.
Yeah, exactly. Fair point. Yeah. But I saw a broadcast from Eastern Europe a couple of weeks ago, and the lady who was making the broadcast said that face masks in her country had become the norm, and that the rate that the virus was spreading seems to be reduced quite drastically by face masks becoming a norm.
Yeah. Well, face masks, I'll say this again. I don't know much about it, but I did read up extensively about face masks. And masks are to stop other people getting what you've got. Respirators, which are a much bigger construction, are to stop you getting what other people have got. So if everybody did wear a mask of some sort, then it might stop you infecting other people.
Well, I'm no statistician or scientist, right? But I am.
Well, then I don't wish to speak to you. I wish you'd said that at the beginning, Laurel. We only are interested in the opinion of experts on this show. Go ahead.
Well, sorry about that, but I am an expert crafter. And I did look online for patterns, knitting and crochet patterns for face masks.
Oh, yeah.
And through one of, I know this is fascinating stuff. Through one of these sites, I read an article about different fabrics and how they block the transmission of germs.
Yes.
Now, if you wear an ordinary scarf, a woolen scarf, that's not going to do anything for you, right? Same with the cotton.
So what will? We're running out of time here, so what will?
The best fabric to use is tea towels. That will block about 70% of things.
Okay, well, I'm sold. In fact, I would look fantastic with a tea towel over my face. Thanks for the good advice. Here's a call in Dublin. Derek.
Nick, how you doing? I wanted to talk about the sustainability of this situation that we're in, because we listen to the BBC update every night from Boris Johnson or whoever is taking it at the time. Yet there's absolutely no talk about how sustainable or unsustainable this is. I mean, we have this R number of 0.5, but that, when you take it in connection with the absolute decimation of the economy, surely the time is going to come, not too soon away in the absence of a vaccine, where basically we're all going to have to take our chances with this virus. Just wonder what you thought about that, because I just don't think this can go on.
No, of course it can't. The problem that they might have next is persuading us to actually leave. I mean, nobody wants the economy to be ruined, but I think that people have in mind the more immediate threat of dying by the weekend if they go out and are unlucky. So that's going to be the problem. I mean, they've said over and over again, ministers in private, that they are surprised at how good we've been. They didn't expect us to stay in when they told us to stay in.
Exactly. And when you listen to a lot of the commentators that are on Twitter or in the media, they're all very good giving out about how many tests that the government hasn't made. 86,000, 87,000, that they're short of 100,000, etc. But the man in the street isn't really worried about that. He wants normality, and I think that the time's going to come where a politician or a leader, not just in this country, but all around the world, is going to have to say, well, how much unemployment, what is the unemployment rate that we're going to allow it to get to before we say enough is enough?
Well, I think, yes, the idea that once we get the daily tally of horror stories down to a small amount, like double figures, not triple figures, then we'll all be able to go outside and problem will be solved. But of course, it just makes, I don't know anything about science. In fact, I know so little about science that I could be the president of the United States of America. But it seems logical to me that when we do go outside, we're just going to start catching it again because it's outside. And then what? Are we going to go? Are we going to do this again? How could we?
But that's my point. That will happen. And it irks me to say it, and I know it will irk you, so please don't cut me off. But maybe Trump has got this right, because the people who are going to perish from this are going to be, we know who are the people who is killing, and the vast majority of people are either...
You've been placed on hold. Please wait.
What? Did he just place himself on hold? That's excellent. That's never happened before. Maybe phones should come with an instruction manual. Let's have a call in Hatfield. Susan.
Oh, hello. Yes, hello.
Susan.
Yeah, hello. I keep saying hello. Yeah, I would suggest that it's mainly the working class, low-paid workers that have been thrown under the bus, not on the bus. Second phase, relatively low-paid workers are essentially the caretakers of the world, the hospitals, the care workers and so on, first phase. And incredulously, these people have been risking their actual lives, going about their work for an absolute pittance in many cases, and especially in comparison to the multimillionaires and celebrities of this world. And it's been an amazing eye-opener to me and many others, the huge disparity in our culture, in our world, in capitalism in its ugliest phase, have shown all of this up. Do you allow me to carry on talking?
It surely didn't take this to illuminate the disproportionate way that wealth is spread about society.
No. 20 years ago, I wrote an MA thesis at Goldsmiths, Psychoanalysis of Society, Celebrity as Virus, and I addressed that whole thing. Yeah, well, you might feel yourself as a celebrity
Back up,
in
Susan.
that.
One moment, please.
No.
You did a study on celebrity as a virus. Is that what you said?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, what does that mean?
20 years ago, Goldsmiths. Well, it's strange, but my tutor at the time said that this idea has come, and there were many sage nods among my peers at the time, two of them being priests, or no, not priests, they were men of the cloth, they were various. And there was that whole it does mean a lot.
Other than the,
no, it doesn't. Hold on. It's to do with capitalism in its more developed phase.
But what do you mean celebrity is a virus?
Where we
Susan, what do you mean that celebrity is a virus? What does that mean?
Well, you could, in simplistic terms, because there isn't much time here, but I wrote a 10,000 word thesis about it. But in simplistic ways, it means that we have celebrities out there where people accrue their energies to, but it's very partial. And what it's really about is capitalism, making people think that they are a part of maybe becoming rich because they recognise themselves, say, in David Beckham, being a bit thick and so on, or I could be a millionaire too, all this sort of thing. And actually is showing it up to the nth degree at the moment. The real people hold on.
I understand
really
a few phrases every Susan. I understand a few phrases every now and again, but you're really not making a lot of sense. Are you saying that you did this thesis as the basis for a degree?
An hour are actually risking their lives.
Susan, did you say that you did this thesis as the basis for a degree?
Houses have shown themselves to be
okay. Well, I'll assume that the answer is no. What did you get for your degree? Assuming the answer is yes. What mark did you get? What did you get?
Distinction.
2, 3, third? What does that mean?
MA level, but I did a fashion degree originally at St Martin's, so I know what I'm talking about.
I don't know whether you meant that to be funny, but that really was. Excellent end on that. I did a fashion degree, so I know what I'm talking about. Okay, thanks a lot, Susan. Greenwich, Akeem.
Oh, hi there. Finally, it's
Hello
about
there.
time. I've been trying to get onto this line for ages. When you call earlier on and the next guy is on, you can't get they take your call and they tell you to wait, and I never get in.
Yeah.
But finally, I have a stay,
Well,
and I could say
unfortunately,
something.
we've just run out of time allotted to this call. What with all the whinging and the whining and the moaning. Oh, that shut him up, didn't it? Are you still there?
Yeah, I
are you
am.
still there, mate?
Sorry, yeah,
Okay,
I am.
go
Sorry
ahead.
about that.
Can't wait.
I almost, yeah. So I could hear you clearly, number one, and secondly, I could do the test myself. I heard you talking about that earlier. You know,
Yeah.
I did it myself.
How do you
and,
know?
You know,
How do you know?
Well, I'm a young man. I've been for an STD test, and the apparatus they use for the test is quite similar to that. So,
I don't think
putting
so.
something down your throat
I don't
and
think
up in
so.
your nose is quite...
STD test, that's got nothing like it.
I mean, well, the directions and the apparatus. I mean, if you could read and if you could use those things, if you've seen it before, obviously, I think you could do it.
Very much doubt it. I don't think people will be able to do it to themselves. But furthermore, I don't think people will do it themselves. If you give people a swab test to do, they're going to lightly dab the inside of their cheek and put it in a tube and send it off, and then get a false, quite potentially a false negative. People just won't do it thoroughly enough. I mean, I've met people, and I know that they won't.
Let me just tell you one thing as well. They give you a kind of a piece of tissue to kind of cough into. People are going to see that and just be confused, because I was sitting there for ages thinking, what is this tissue for? You know? And you
Okay,
have
well,
to
where
cough
this is
and then
going,
bring
I
up-
don't want to go. So thanks a lot, Akeem. I'll just cut you off right there. I think I know where that one's going. Let's have a call in Swanscombe. Michael.
Hello, yes.
Michael.
Hello, good evening. I have an idea regarding face masks. I have two ideas.
Yes.
One
Idea one.
is a schnood. You know a schnood? Schnood.
A what?
A schnood. SNOOD.
Ding.
A schnood. And the other is
do you mean a snood?
a schnood.
Yeah, because you're saying it like it's SCHNOOD, a schnood.
No, it's SNOOD. A schnood.
SNOOD, a schnood.
Yeah. And the other one is a thong. THONG. A thong. Not together.
No. Or previously worn, like fresh out of the packet, preferably.
Preferably, because I tried both the other day, and regarding the thong comes with a public health warning. I nearly choked myself to death. I forgot to check the pubic hairs.
Oh, please. Well, that took a nasty turn right at the end there. Okay, thanks a lot, Michael. Here's a call in Oxford. Leslie.
Hello.
Leslie.
Just to phone back, I had the test done on Thursday just because the hospital are offering tests so they can get markers to validate their test, basically. So I had the throat swab. Yeah, I could not do that myself. And the nose swab was really painful. It made your blooming eyes water. So, yeah, no, that would be impossible too.
Yeah,
and then
people just won't do it.
And then a blood antibody test, which that will take a couple of months. But, yeah, they're kind of validating their machine so they can do reliable antibody tests.
A couple of months?
They're working on things, which is encouraging.
Not really, no.
My other point is, this is two other points. Number one, face masks. I wouldn't wear a face mask because I think you have to kind of, they need to be safe for the NHS, like for frontline workers.
Well, that's ridiculous.
Secondly, you need to wear them correctly and wash them frequently. So,
yeah, I think that people have got the wrong idea about face masks. I think that people have got the wrong idea about the purpose of a face mask. we're not talking about respirators. That's different. A face mask is to stop other people getting what you've got. It's not going to protect you from getting what other people have got. Not those flimsy
if you wear it
paper
incorrectly,
face
then
masks.
you could risk catching kind of things. Say, yeah, I wouldn't wear a face mask for that reason. And my other
Well, it's not going to
point-
make you more susceptible to catch something, is it?
Well, if you don't wear it correctly, if you don't wash it, then you might pick something else up. There's that risk.
Right.
So,
But wash it then. That's the answer. Wash it, or just reuse it. Don't reuse it. Throw them away. Get disposable ones.
then my other point is, why are the government sort of so much like why are they so much hinging all their hopes on the vaccine? Why is there not talk in the news of them hinging on cures and remedies as well? Because if given choice,
because none may arrive. Yeah, none may arrive. I don't think they're hinging. They're pinning their hopes on either of those two things.
I would not take a vaccine if I had the option of a cure or medication. I would go for medication rather than the vaccine because I prefer to get my own immunity.
Yeah, but your own immunity might leave you dead, Leslie.
I got a strong immunity. I'm pretty confident.
Okay, well, good luck with that confidence. 0345 6060 973. Medical expert there on the phone. She's completely confident. Not going to wear a mask, not going to take a vaccine, none of that. It's just going to bounce right off her. Let's have a call in Glasgow. Norrie.
Good evening, Nick. It's first time caller, mate.
Good man.
Nick, can I just give you just I've got a couple of wee points if I've got time to put them across to you, mate. My personal view on the government's handling of this sudden outbreak of this COVID-19 virus, I think the government they have been outstanding. One thing you haven't mentioned tonight, Nick, on your show is the support that governments give to small businesses, larger businesses, the floral payments to people, 80% of their wages. That's not been mentioned at all tonight on your show, Nick. And you've got to see that
we know all about that, Norrie. But
I know, but you've not mentioned that. There's too many people at home.
There's no end of things I haven't mentioned, Norrie.
Mm-hmm. But there's got to be a point. The people are talking about the government and saying, "Oh, they're not doing enough." And I thought it was terrible last night. I listened to another show. It wasn't yours, Nick. Some of the guys who was making their briefing at 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon. They look tired, and they're saying the same things. What additional questions can you ask anymore? And what additional answers do you expect these people to put across to the people?
Well, if they answered the questions in the first place, then journalists would not have to keep repeating them.
So why are they not more inventive then, if that's the case, like coming up with new questions? Regarding data,
I refer you to the answer that I gave some moments ago.
If
the politicians don't answer the questions, then it's reasonable to keep asking them until they do. But they don't. They seem to swerve and just give the answer that they prepared to the question that they would prefer had been asked.
Well, can I ask you a personal question? If you had one opportunity to ask your Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, a question that's never been asked, that's never been answered, what would it be?
Well, don't put me on the spot or anything, will you, Norrie? You want me to come up on the spot with
Everybody's been put on the spot then. That's the point I'm trying to make.
No, well, you're not making it very well. You want me to come up immediately with a question that no one has ever asked before? I think you're being unreasonable, Norrie.
Did you think anything original it's not been asked?
No,
so we
you're
get
the one who,
an original
listen to
answer.
me. You are the one that's insisting that journalists come up with a different question, not me. So let me ask you. What question would you ask that's new and unique?
Well, I'm glad you asked me that. I have no questions to ask. I think all the questions have been asked. Right. And I think they've all been received with positive answers. What more can these guys do? They're doing their best. Yeah, you're laughing there, Nick. Why are you laughing?
But at the concept that they're doing their best. If this is their best,
you not think they're doing that then, Nick? No.
Well, if they are, then it's alarming, Norrie. If this is their best, it's alarming.
It's unprecedented, as everybody's used that word so many times.
Yeah, I know, so many times. Yeah, to excuse all manner of misdeeds and missed opportunities. Yeah, unprecedented. Like nobody saw this coming, apart from all of the experts that have been ringing the warning bell that this has been coming for years.
Well, we're hearing stories. Don't quote me on this, Nick, but stories come through from China. The amount of propaganda, if you want to call it that, or lies that's come through from China now. When this virus developed itself, if you want to call it that, in China, the results they produced were minimal. And this has become a pandemic all over the world because of that.
What do you mean the results they produced? What result? What are you talking about now?
Well, China's starting to come out herself now and saying, we've got different results. There's more than 3,000 people that died in this Yuan. There's more than 3,000, 6,000 people died in China.
Well, it's just possible that everyone is massaging these statistics. I know we are.
But why should we be doing that?
To make the government's actions seem less bad.
Oh, Nick, come on. You're saying that the government's done bad. The decision they made, they've done bad to help people.
Oh, you're one of those people that says...
That's just what you said there, man. To make our government look better.
Yes.
People are dying upon tens of thousands.
So anything that the government
does... Do you think
our
government feels good about
that? I didn't comment on whether they felt good or bad about it. You seem to think that the government is beyond criticism or being held to account.
No, I never said that, mate. No.
You've been saying that over and over again since the moment we started speaking.
This has been diluted into the last maybe 3-4 months at the most. How to deal with this pandemic. And it's not just in Britain, it's all over the world.
Yes, and some countries are doing better than we are. In fact, most countries are doing better than we are.
Name one.
Germany.
Every
other country in Europe is doing better than we are at the moment.
Well, Mike, can I just make a wee brief point there, pal? I know you're a busy show, and it's good. I really enjoy speaking to you, mate. The previous caller on earlier on, he got a test kit online he bought in Germany for 10 quid to test to see whether he was COVID-19 positive, and the result was he wasn't. But he wants clarification now from Earth Health authorities to confirm that. So is he suggesting we should all go to online and get these kits from Germany just to prove we've got clearance from COVID-19?
No, I don't think he was suggesting anything of the sort.
So what was his point then?
Well, what's your point? Your point seems to be that the government is doing its best, therefore should not be taken to task or criticised or have their actions scrutinised.
No, Nick, I've never said that, mate. Of course. These guys are under serious pressure.
Oh, okay. Well, we should leave them alone and let them get on with it. Okay, excellent.
No. Come on now.
We are number one in Europe. The UK is recording the largest number of new coronavirus cases and deaths in Europe, and the rate at which they are soaring is this is a quote, frightening other EU states. Not only are we beating the EU, we're actually making them scared as well. Excellent work, everyone. That'll show those unelected European overlords who's boss. This was Austria's health minister, Rudolf Anschober, who had a press conference, displayed graphs showing that the UK's new cases were head and shoulders above other nations. So if you want to have material with which to attack the government, this is it. The minister highlighted the rapid growth in UK cases, presenting a chart showing the average daily growth in infections over the last 10 days, on which Austria performed best and Britain worst. Uxbridge, Jake.
Jay, it's Jay. How you doing, Nick?
Jay. Can I call you Jake?
You can call me Jake, no problem. It's all right, man.
Right. So what's up, Jake?
So, Nick, basically, today was my son's first birthday. So I celebrated exactly. I celebrated my son's first birthday today in the best isolation I could. But I reckon we got this whole thing wrong, man, with the coronavirus. Because if we look at Sweden, we look at how they dealt with it, we look at how they've approached it, it just shows that they've done it in a better way. And I think we've just done everything in a knee-jerk reaction, not really looking at what we could look at, just kind of following what the public's emotions have asked for, and we've just done what that is. Basically.
I think if we were going to go this route, then we should have decided at the very beginning, and we should have done what Germany has done. We should have done what we were told to do by the World Health Organization and every expert that has actually looked at this, and they said it in 3 words: test, 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 and we still aren't doing it.
But Nick, we never had the capacity to test in the first place.
Well, then that's something that the previous administration needs to be held to account on. If only we hadn't spent the last 10 years being led by a Labour government under the disastrous premiership of Jeremy Corbyn. Oh no, wait a minute, that's right. It wasn't him, and it wasn't them. It's the Tories that have been in power for the last 10 years. So I expect it will be their fault then.
I understand what you're saying, but I feel either way, if it was a Labour government in charge or a Conservative government in charge, they would have done the same mistakes that have occurred.
Well, that's not an assumption that you can confidently make, because we just don't know.
I'm sure. But I reckon in my best guess that it would have happened either way because
right. Speaking of somebody who just doesn't know, that's your guess. Okay, good guess. Thanks a lot, Jake. I got to go. Let's see what this one's like. Dalgety Bay, Brian.
Evening, Nick. Thanks for taking my call. Brian. You made a lot of really good points about Transport for London and how it's chaos, so I'd like to offer you a possible solution. Okay. Why don't we segregate buses and have a red bus for people that have got the virus, a green bus for people who've had it, and an amber bus for people who haven't got it? And you let people on the buses free as long as they have a mask and a coloured wristband that matches the bus.
See, I think that maybe just masks. I mean, can't people just be made to wear masks, and then we can all get squashed in on any kind of transport we like? No?
Not easily, because then you'll spread the virus. The worst thing you can do with the virus is be inside with people that haven't got it. That is the greatest risk. Being outside is better. Inside is the worst. But if you're on a bus with everybody that's had it, right, then you're safe. If you're on a bus with everybody that's got it, you can't catch it, you've got it. We need a bus, a red bus, where people have got red wristbands, and make it free. Make the transport free, right, but you must have a mask and you must have a band. The bands are £1 on eBay or Amazon. £1.
Yeah.
You know if you've had it, or if you haven't had it, or if you have got it.
No, I don't like this. I don't like this idea at all. I mean, apart from anything else, why should transport be free? I mean, someone's got to pay for it.
It's not going to be for everybody. It's only the people that need it at the moment. So, given that we have £2 billion a day cost, as long as the economy's closed, and it's not going to be everybody on transport, we need to limit the transport and reduce the volume. So, if there are 3 buses and you only get on one of them, the red bus, everybody on it has got red, and the driver will be protected. That's the emergency bus for somebody who must travel and has the virus. The green bus is everybody that's had it, they can't get it again. I know that's tricky.
None of this is going to work. No, I know you've spent a lot of time thinking about this, Brian, but it's a no from me. Well, apart from anything else, if we've got 3 buses that are all doing the same timetable, going in the same direction at the same, from the same place to the same place, then we don't have enough buses, apart from anything else.
But you've only got 10% of the people that are travelling?
But there's 10% of the people that are travelling, but it doesn't mean to. But they have to travel on 100% of the ordinary buses being provided. You can't have only 10% of the buses.
But you don't have 10% of the buses. You did point out that there was the video of everybody coming off a bus, and most of them didn't have a mask, and they were crowded on. No. Now, we stop that if we segregate the buses, right? I know it's not a great idea in terms of, you think, segregation, but until we get a vaccine, not a vaccine, we're not going to get a vaccine, as you said, until we get a test that is instantaneous, we don't know who has it, but you know that you've had it or you haven't. Therefore, if you indicate yourself, identify your status, that's a good start. Nobody's going to get in the red bus.
So you're standing there in the rain and the cold, and you're waiting for a bus, and the wrong colour one comes up. And so, what are you going to do? You're going to wait to see if the next one does arrive, or are you going to just tell the driver that I'm clean?
Every 5 minutes there'll be a long. I mean, it's going to be 15 minutes at worst. Remember, not everybody's travelling as they used to. 10% of the traffic is now travelling, and you look at the London Tube. You've got 200 people on the station, on the platform, ready to get on. You have a green carriage, a red carriage, and an amber carriage. You get on the carriage appropriately. They can be densely packed. Yeah?
No.
Because everybody can be on
okay,
a bed.
apart from it's just completely unworkable, because you'll have to just trust that people will get on the right carriage, and they just won't.
Well, they're not going to get on the wrong one. You're not going to get on the red one, are you? Why would you get on the red one?
I'm not. Yes. I've forgotten what the colours mean, Brian. But you'll just get on whatever is more convenient. But you're saying, everything that you're saying is based upon the idea that you can't get this disease twice, and there's no evidence to suggest that that's true.
Indeed, at the moment, but this would allow us to track us because the bans are on CCTV, and CCTV's on every bus, every train station, every platform.
Yeah. Okay.
And every shop you go into.
But they're not. They're not monitored. They only exist to provide exciting coverage for the nightly news. Nobody's actually sitting there staring at them all the time. Anyway, Brian, you'll have to rethink and resubmit your proposals first thing in the morning. Promise me you'll do that. Thanks a lot, mate. Let's have Stockton on Tees. Brian.
Yeah, good evening, Nick. Good to talk to you. You see your mate earlier on tonight there?
Who?
Your mate, James O'Brien.
My mate?
Yeah, he was on Have I Got News For You.
Was he?
Yeah, you have to watch it and catch up, Nick.
Right.
I mean, I don't normally watch it, but I thought I'll watch it, see what he says.
Yeah.
Don't agree with what he says on the radio. And
I stopped watching Have I Got News For You when they canned Angus Deaton, who I thought was the funniest person on there.
Yeah, he was better than what they have now. But you want to stick the radio. You can watch it and catch up yourself, but stick the radio, James. I mean, it's all it's all been preempted, scripted, and all that. And all they've done, all the four of them, was just laugh at their own jokes and all the silly things. I know it's a skit and what have you. But
right, makes you wonder why you put yourself through that torture, Brian. Was it just to give you something to whine about?
Well, I thought I'd join you. You're on downers tonight, you. I thought I'd join you. Anyway, what I want to talk about really, Nick, was did you watch the Panorama program earlier in the week?
No.
Panorama.
No, but I know the one you mean, where we found out that the government counts each glove individually instead of pairs, that kind of thing.
Yeah. But yes, that might be happening. But the show just lost all credibility when all the interviewees, Professor John Ashton, 50 years of Labour in the Labour Party, they had a couple of nurses and a couple of doctors. All five of them were on most of the show talking. All Labour activists. So they just can't help themselves, the BBC, can they? It just loses. It's just too much bias. It loses all credibility, the programme. I agree with you. If they had done it properly, Nick, yes, it can be believable. But when it is so biased, something has to be done about the BBC, Nick, don't you think?
Well, what do you mean about that? See, I didn't see it, so I'm flying blind here. But I very much doubt that every person that they talked to was a Labour activist. That's just not something they would do. Well, I don't believe you.
They've looked them all up, right? And a couple of them actually...
And what do you mean by activist? Do you mean voted Labour once?
They'd actually been on stage with Jeremy Corbyn, shouting the government down and all that and different things. And one of them was a union woman, the nurse, something Nolan called her.
Well, is that a wrong thing to be, a member of a union?
What they were looking for, Panorama, like always, by the looks of it, they got this bloke, right, Flanagan, they called him, and they said, can you get us people to talk for the programme? He said, leave it with me. So straight away, you knew the Panorama, the BBC, were looking for something to make it look a lot worse than what it is.
Well, so are you suggesting that they were lying?
Yes.
Oh, come off it, mate.
Because, but anyway.
So these were people from the NHS who were giving their experience of what it is to be working on the front line.
If you're a program like Panorama, it has got to be unbiased. It has got to. You can't have every person on the program.
But what do you mean by biased? Either it's a great success on the front line, getting PPE and all of the other things that they've been complaining about for a long time, or it isn't, irrespective of how they vote at the election or what stage they've occupied. It's got nothing to do with it. If a doctor is saying that he doesn't have the masks and the gloves that he needs, what difference does it make who he votes for? God, everything's down to party political lines with you, Brian, and not everybody thinks like that. A certain group of cultists think like that anything that Boris Johnson or Donald Trump does is just covered in gold and should not be argued with or even discussed. But not everybody is in the cult, Brian.
We had Boris Johnson on the programme on Panorama, and had 4 of his supporters behind him. That would have been wrong as well. That would have been biased. You know, the other way it's biased. What we're saying is the BBC on a show like the Panorama, all the companies watching it, taxpayers' money. It should be unbiased, and it wasn't. Now we are where we are.
Of course, it's not. Of course, a program like Panorama is not unbiased, because otherwise they wouldn't have a program. They have a point to make, and they were illustrating that point by getting. Again, I didn't see it, so it's pointless me arguing with you about this. But I know, having spoken to you many, many times, you view everything through the funnel of right is right, and anybody else is a communist infiltrator. I just haven't got any time for it, Brian. But I wish you all the best to stew in your fury.